Welcome back everyone. Today we are going to start chapter 13 Motion and Time. In class 6, you learned about different types of motions. You learned that a motion could be along a straight line, it could be circular or periodic. Can you recall these three types of motions? Table 13.1 gives some common example of motions. Identify the type of motion in each case. So in 13.1, examples of different types of motion, example of motion and type of motion along a straight line, circular or periodic. So you can see soldier in a march past. So it is in a straight line. Bullock cart moving in a straight road. It's also in a straight line. It is the movement of the bullock cart in a straight road. Hands of an athlete in a race. So it is a periodic. And pedal of a bicycle in motion. So it is circular motion. Motion of the earth around the sun is also circular motion. Motion of a swing is a periodic motion, and motion of a pendulum is also a periodic motion. It is common experience that the motion of some objects is slow while of some other is fast. So you know that motion of some is slow and some is fast. 13.1 Slow or fast. We know that some vehicles move faster than other. Even the same vehicle may move faster or slower at different times. Make a list of 10 objects moving along a straight path. Group the motion of these objects as slow and fast. How did you decide which object is moving slow and which object is moving fast? If vehicles are moving on a straight road in the same direction, we can easily tell which one of them is moving faster than the other. So if they are running on a straight road, then you can say which one is faster. Let us look at the motion of vehicle moving along a road. Activity 13.1. Look at figure 13.1. It shows the position of some vehicles moving on a straight road in the same direction at some instant time. Now look at figure 13.2. It shows the position of the same vehicles after some time. From your observation of the two figures, answer the following question. Which vehicle is moving the fastest of all? Which one of them is moving the slowest of all? The distance moved by object in a given interval of time can help us to decide which one is faster or slower. So in a given interval of time, the distance traveled by the objects will tell us which one is faster and which one is slower. For example, imagine that you have gone to see off a friend at the bus stand. Suppose you start pedaling your bicycle at the same time as the bus begins to move. The distance traveled by you after 5 minutes would be much smaller than that covered by the bus. Would you say that the bus is moving faster than the bicycle? So it is clear. We often say that the faster vehicle has a higher speed. So the faster vehicle has higher speed. That's why I say it is moving faster. In a 100-meter race, it is easy to decide whose speed is highest. One who takes shortest time to cover the distance of 100 meter has the highest speed. So who has the highest speed will cover the 100-meter distance faster. So you can see some vehicles are moving in the same road in the same direction. So now you can see some vehicles have gone ahead and some are left behind. The position of vehicles shown in figure 1.1, 13.1 after some time. So you can see the green vehicle is having a higher speed, so it can crossed ahead of the other vehicles, and the small car is moving at a slower speed. 13.2 Speed. You are probably familiar with the word speed. In the example given above, higher speed seems to indicate that a given distance has been covered in a shorter time. So the vehicle having the higher speed has covered the distance in shorter time or a larger distance covered in a given time. The most convenient way to find out which of the two or more objects is moving faster is to compare the distances moved by them in a unit time. Thus, if we know the distance covered by two buses in 1 hour, we can tell which one is faster. We call the distance covered by an object in a unit time as the speed of the object. So distance covered by the object in the unit time is called the speed of the object. When we say that a car is moving with a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, it implies that it will cover a distance of 50 kilometers in 1 hour. So if a car is running at 50 kilometer per hour speed, it will cover 50 kilometer distance in 1 hour. However, a car seldom moves with a constant speed for 1 hour. In fact, it starts moving slowly and then picks up speed. So when we say that the car has a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, we usually consider only the total distance covered by it in 1 hour. So the car starts in a slow speed and then it picks up its speed. So we are considering the distance covered by the car in 1 hour, that is 50 kilometers. We do not bother whether the car has been moving with a constant speed or not during an hour. The speed calculated here is actually the average speed of the car. So the speed here we are calculating is the average speed. In this book we shall use the term speed for average speed. So for us the speed is the total distance covered divided by the total time taken. So here the speed is equal to total distance covered upon time taken by it. In everyday life, we seldom find objects moving with a constant speed over a long distance or for longer durations of time. If the speed of an object moving along the straight line keeps changing, its motion is said to be non-uniform. If the speed of the object changes in a straight line, it is non-uniform. On the other hand, an object moving along the straight line with a constant speed, it is called a uniform motion. So if the object is moving in a constant speed in a straight line, it is called uniform motion. In this case, the average speed is the same as the actual speed. We can determine the speed of a given object once we measure the time taken by it to cover a certain distance. In class 6, you learned how to measure distance, but how do we measure time? Let us find out. So 13.3 is measurement of time. If you did not have a clock, how would you decide what time of the day it is? Have you ever wondered how our elders could tell the approximate time of the day by just looking at shadows? How do we measure time interval of a month, a year? Our ancestors noticed that many events in nature repeat themselves after a definite interval of time. For example, they found that the sun rises every day in the morning. The time between one sunrise and the next was called a day. Similarly, a month was measured from one new moon to the next. A year was fixed as the time taken by the earth to complete one revolution of the sun. So these were the calculation of the day, month and the year. Often we need to measure intervals of time which are much shorter than a day. Clocks or watches are perhaps the most common time measuring devices. Have you ever wondered how clocks and watches measure time? The working of a clock is rather complex, but all of them make use of some periodic motion. One of the most well-known periodic motion is that a single pendulum. So you can see a wall clock, a table clock and a digital clock. These are some examples of the clock available. So here there is a pendulum diagram of the pendulum. So you can see a simple pendulum, and B is a different position of the bob of an oscillating simple pendulum. A simple pendulum consists of small metallic ball or a piece of stone suspended from a rigid stand by a thread. So a pendulum is a metallic ball that is suspended from a rigid stand through a thread. The metallic ball is called the bob of the pendulum. Figure 13.4a shows the pendulum at rest. It means in its mean position. So the figure A shows the pendulum in its mean position. When the bob of the pendulum is released, after taking it slightly to one side, it begins to move to and fro. In the example 13.4b, we have seen that the to and fro motion of a simple pendulum is an example of a periodic or an oscillatory motion. The pendulum is said to have completed one oscillation when its bob, starting from its mean position O, moves to A, to B and back to A. The pendulum also completes one oscillation when its bob moves from one extreme point A to the other extreme position B and comes back to A. The time taken by a pendulum to complete one oscillation is called its time period. So the bob is here. When the bob is moved from A to B and then come back to A, it is the time period of that pendulum. Activity 13.2. Set up a simple pendulum as shown in figure 13.4a. with a thread or string of length nearly 1 meter. Switch off any fan nearby. Let the bob of the pendulum come to rest at its mean position. Mark the mean position of the bob on the floor, below it or on the wall behind it. To measure the time period of the pendulum, we will need a stopwatch. However, if stopwatch is not available, a table clock or a wristwatch can be used. To set the pendulum in motion, gently hold the bob and move it slightly to one side. So to set the pendulum in motion, we have to move the ball slightly to one side. Make sure that the string is attached to the bob is taut while you displace it. Now release the bob from its displaced position. Remember that the bob is not to be pushed when it is released. Note the time on the clock when the bob is at its mean position. Instead of the mean position, you may note the time when the bob is at one of its extreme positions. Measure the time the pendulum takes to record 20 oscillation. Record your observation in table 13.2. The first observation shown is just a sample. Your observation could be different from this. Repeat this activity a few times and record your observation. By dividing the time taken for 20 oscillation by 20, get the time taken for one oscillation. So of the 20 oscillation, the time of 20 oscillation divided by 20 will give you the time taken for one oscillation or the time period of the pendulum. Is the time period of your pendulum nearly the same in all cases? Note that a slight change in the initial displacement does not affect the time period of your pendulum. Nowadays, most clocks or watches have an electric circuit with one or more cells. These clocks are called quartz. Quartz clock, the time measured by quartz clock is much more accurate than by the clocks available earlier. So here you can see the time period of the pendulum. Length of the string is 100 centimeter. So here is the time taken for 20 oscillation, 42, and time period is 2.1, and you can write your observation in 2 and 3. Units of time and speed. The basic unit of time is second. Its symbol is S. Larger units of time are minutes and hours. You already know how these units are related to one another. What would be the basic unit of speed? Since the speed is distance upon time, the basic unit of speed is meter per second. Of course, it could also be expressed in other units such as meter per minute or kilometer per hour. You must remember that the symbols of all units are written in singular. For example, we write 50 kilometer and not 50 kilometers, or 8 centimeter, not 8 centimeters. Bojo is wondering how many seconds there are in a day and how many hours in a year. Can you help him? There is an interesting story about the discovery that the time period of a given pendulum is constant. You might have heard the name of famous scientist Galileo Galilei. He was alive around 1564 to 1642 AD. It is said that once Galileo was sitting in a church, he noticed that a lamp suspended from the ceiling with a chain was moving slowly from one side to the other. He was surprised to find that his pulse beat the same number of times during the interval in which the lamp completed one oscillation. Galileo experimented with various pendulums to verify his observation. He found that a pendulum of a given length takes always the same time to complete one oscillation. This observation led to the development of pendulum clocks. Winding clocks and wristwatches were refinements of the pendulum clock. So Galileo had this enlightenment by seeing the suspended lamp in a church. Different units of time are used depending on the need. For example, it is convenient to express your age in years rather than in days or hours. Similarly, it will not be wise to express in years the time taken by you to cover the distance between your home and your school. How small or large is a time interval of 1 second? The time taken is saying aloud 2001 is nearly 1 second. Verify it by counting aloud from 2001 to 2010. The pulse of a normal healthy adult at rest beats about 72 times in a minute. That is about 12 times in 10 seconds. This rate may be slightly higher for children. Paley wondered how time was measured when pendulum clock was not available. Many time measuring devices were used in different parts of the world before the pendulum clocks became popular. Sundials, water clocks and sand clocks are some of the examples of such devices. Different design of these devices were developed in different parts of the world. So before the pendulum, sundials, water clocks and sand clocks were used. In 13.4, measuring speed. Having learned how to measure time and distance, you can calculate the speed of an object. Let us find the speed of a ball moving along the ground. Activity 13.3, draw a straight line on the ground with chalk powder or lime and ask one of your friends to stand 1 to 2 meters away from it. Let your friend gently roll a ball along the ground in a direction perpendicular to the line. Note the time at the moment the ball crosses the line and also when it comes to rest in figure 13.6. How much time does the ball takes to come to rest? The smallest time interval that can be measured with commonly available clock and watches is 1 second. So you know that the smallest time interval is second in a common watch. However, now special clocks are available that can measure time intervals smaller than a second. Some of these clocks can measure time interval as small as 1 millionth or even 1 billionth of a second. You might have heard the term like microsecond or nanosecond. 1 microsecond is 1 millionth part of a second. A nanosecond is 1 billionth of a second. Clocks that measure such small time interval are used for scientific research. The time measuring devices used in sports can measure the time intervals that are 1/10 or 1/100th of a second. On the other hand, time of historical events are stated in terms of centuries or millenniums. The ages of star or planet are often expressed in billions of years. Can you imagine the range of time intervals that we have to deal with? So the range is very high for different purposes. So now the above example we will see here. So here is a sundial at Jantar Mandir which were used earlier, and this is a sand clock and this is a water clock. So here the boy is throwing a ball perpendicular to the line drawn to measure the speed of the ball. So measure the distance between the point at which the ball crosses the line and the point where it comes to rest. You can use a scale or a measuring tape. Let different groups repeat the activity. Record the measurement in table 13.3. In each case, calculate the speed of the ball. You may now like to compare your speed of walking or cycling with that of your friends. You need to know the distance of the school from your home or from some other point. Each one of you can then measure the time taken to cover the distance and calculate your speed. So if you know the distance between the two places, you can easily calculate the speed by the time taken by you. So now it may be interesting to know who amongst you is the fastest. Speeds of some living organisms are given in. So here is a table given in table 13.4 in kilometer per hour. You can calculate the speed in meter per second. So here you can calculate that distance moved and time taken by a moving ball. So name of the group, distance moved by the ball in meters, time taken in second, and speed is equal to distance upon time. So you will divide distance by the time and you will get the speed of the ball of your different groups. Rockets launching satellites into Earth's orbit often obtain speeds up to 8 km per second. So rocket launching satellites into Earth orbit have a high speed of 8 km per second. On the other hand, a tortoise can move only with a speed of about 8 cm per second. Can you calculate how fast is the rocket compared with the tortoise? Once you know the speed of an object, you can find the distance moved by it in a given time. All you have to do is to multiply the speed by the time. So distance is equal to speed into time. You can also find the time an object would take to cover a distance while moving at a given speed. So time is equal to distance upon speed. So from this formula, this is derived. You can just simply take speed below distance. So it will become distance upon time. Bojo wants to know whether there is any device that measures the speed. You might have seen a meter fitted on top of a scooter or a motorcycle. Similarly, meters can be used on dashboards of car, buses and other vehicles. So you have seen that in the dashboard of the car, there is a speedometer. In figure 13.7 shows the dashboard of a car. Note that one of the meter has a kilometer per hour written on one corner. This is called a speedometer. So here is the speed of some of the animals. The falcon can attain a speed of 320 kilometer per hour. So speed in meter per second is equal to 320 upon 60 into 60 into 1000. So now the 1000 is the kilometer and 60 is per hour. So it will get cancelled and you can calculate the speed of it. Cheetah has 112 kilometer per hour speed. Bluefish has 40 to 46. Rabbit has 56 kilometer per hour speed. Squirrel has 19. Domestic mouse has 11 kilometer per hour speed. Human has 40 kilometer per hour speed. Giant tortoise has 0.27 kilometer per hour and snail has 0.05 kilometer per hour speed. So the speedometer is used to record the, so you can see the speedometer. So speedometer is used to record the speed directly in kilometer per hour. So you can see in the dashboard of the car, this is the speedometer and this is the kilometer per hour speed. There are also another meter that measures the distance moved by the vehicle. This meter is known as an odometer. So there is an odometer in between here. So that will show the speed. While going for a school picnic, Paheli decided to note the reading on the odometer of the bus after every journey, 30 minutes till the end of the journey. So the odometer calculates the distance. So later on she recorded her readings in table 13.5. So here is the reading in 8 am. The odometer reading was 36,540 kilometer. It was the starting point. At 8:30 the bus covered 20 kilometer more. So here is the distance from 20 from the starting point is 20. Here 20 is increased. At 9 am more 20, 9:30 more 20 is added. And similarly at 10 pm the speed became 36,620 kilometer and it was the distance covered was 80 kilometers. Can you tell how far was the picnic spot from the school? So you have seen it was 80 kilometer away. Can you calculate the speed of the bus looking at the table? Bojo asked Paheli whether she can tell how far they would have travelled till 9:45 am. Paheli had no answer to this question. They went to their teacher. She told them that one way to solve this problem is to plot a distance time graph. Let us find out how such graph is plotted. So this is the distance time plot. So no, this is this is not that. It will be on other page, I think. 13.5 distance time graph. You might have seen that newspapers, magazines, etc. present information of various form in graphs to make it interesting. The type of graph shown in figure 13.8 is known as a bar graph. Another type of graphical representation is a pie chart. In figure 13.9 is a pie chart. The graph shown in figure 13.10 is an example of line graph. The distance time graph is a line graph. Let us learn to make such a graph. So here this shows the a graph showing runs scored by a team in each over. So in the first over they scored 1 run. In second over they scored 5 runs. In third over they scored 3 runs. And in fourth over they scored 10 runs. And in fifth they scored 2 runs. And in sixth over they scored around 6 runs. So this is a bar graph. So you will see the example of pie chart and the line graph. So this is a pie chart. You can see here it has oxygen in the form of a pie, other gases in form of a pie. So it is called a pie chart. So this is the content of nitrogen in our atmosphere and in the air, and this is the composition of oxygen, and this is the other gases. So it is showing the composition of air. So this 13.10 shows a line graph showing change in weight of a man with age. So a man's age is given here, and in the y-axis his weight is given in kilos. So at in age 2 he had 10 kg weight, in age 4 he had around 10 kg weight. So similarly the weight is increasing, and around age 14 he had 40 kg, and till the age 22 he has around 80 kg weight. So this is a line graph of man's weight. Take a sheet of graph paper, draw two lines perpendicular to each other on it. As shown in figure 13.11, mark the horizontal line as XO X dash. It is known as x-axis. Similarly, mark a vertical line YO Y naught. It is called the y-axis. The point of intersection of XO X dash and XO Y YO Y dash is known as the origin O. The two quantities between which the graph is drawn are shown along these two axes. We show the positive value on the x-axis along OX. Similarly, the positive value of y-axis on the OY. So we will plot the positive values on x-axis along OX, and we will plot positive value of y-axis along OY. In this chapter, we shall consider only the positive value of quantity. So in this example, we are only considering positive values. So here is OY and this is OX. So this is positive axis, this is also positive axis, and OX dash is negative axis and OY dash is also negative axis. But we are only considering the positive values. So we will plot only in this part XOY. Okay, x-axis and y-axis on the graph paper. Therefore, we shall use only the shaded part of the graph shown in 13.11. So you should know that this is called the x-axis and this is called the y-axis. Bojo and Paoli found out the distance travelled by a car and the time taken by it to cover that distance. The data is shown in figure in table 13.6. So the time was in starting point, the distance and time is 0. In 1 minute, the distance is 1 kilometer. In 2 minutes, 2 kilometer, 3 minutes, 3 kilometer, 4 minutes, 4 kilometer, and 5 minutes in 5 kilometers. So you can make the graph by following the steps given below. Draw two perpendicular lines that represent the two axes as shown above and mark them as OX along the x-axis and OY along the y-axis as shown in figure 13.11. Decide the quantity to be shown along the x-axis and that to shown along the y-axis. In this case, we show the time along the x-axis and the distance along the y-axis. So we will show the time in x-axis and distance in y-axis. So you can see here you can see this is the time and this is distance along y-axis. So in 1 minute the distance travelled by this is 1 kilometer. So you can plot it here, and here also the same. So you can do like this. Choose a scale to represent the distance and another to represent the time on the graph. For the motion of the car, scale could be 1 minute is equal to 1 centimeter. So for 1 minute you can plot in 1 centimeter. Mark values for the time and the distance on the respective axis according to the scale you have chosen. For the motion of the car, mark the time 1 minute, 2 minute and x-axis for the origin O. Similarly, mark the distance 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer on y-axis. You have seen this 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer in y-axis and 1 minute, 2 minute in x-axis. So it is clear. Now you have to mark the point on which on the graph paper to represent each set of value to distance and time. Observe recorded at S. So in the table 13.6 shows that the time on 0 minute the distance moved is also 0. So you can see here it is the 0 second and 0 minute and 0 distance covered. The point corresponding to this set of values on the graph will therefore be the origin itself. After 1 minute the car has moved distance of 1 kilometer. To mark this set a value, look for the point that represent 1 minute on x-axis. So you can see, you can plot it here on x-axis, 1 minute on x-axis and 1 minute on y-axis. So here and here. So you can join it by drawing and draw a parallel line parallel to the x-axis from the point corresponding to a distance 1 kilometer on the y-axis. So you will get a point here. So you can see it in blue. X-axis is 1 kilometer and 1 minute, and y-axis is 1 kilometer. Now the point where these two lines intersect represent the set of values. So this is the set of value 1, 1. Similarly, mark on the graph paper the point corresponding to the different sets of value. So you have seen it there. Figure 13.12 shows the set of points on the graph corresponding to the position of the car at various times. Join all the points on the graph as shown in the figure 13.13. It is a straight line. This is the distance time graph of the motion of the car. If the distance time graph is a straight line, it indicates that the speed of the object is moving with a constant speed. However, if the speed of the object keeps changing, the graph can be of any other shape. So you know it has a constant speed. So we are getting when we join these points, we are getting a straight line. So we know that it is a constant speed. The car is moving in a constant speed. So I think it is clear to you how to plot the graph. So here there is another example of the time distance traveled by the bus. Generally, the choice of scale is not as simple as it is in the example given in figure 13.12 and 13.13. We may have to choose two different scales to represent the desired quantities on the x-axis and the y-axis. Let us try to understand this process with an example. Let us again consider the motion of the bus that took Paheli and her friends to the picnic. The distance covered and time taken by the bus are shown in table 13.5. The total distance covered by the bus is 80 km. If we decide to choose the scale of 1 km as 1 centimeter, we shall have to draw an axis of length 30 centimeter, which is not possible in the graph paper. On the other hand, a scale of 10 km as 1 centimeter would be required an axis of the length only 8 centimeter. So this scale is quite convenient. So we will take 10 km as 1 centimeter. However, the graph may cover only a small part of the graph paper. Some of the point to be kept in mind while choosing the most suitable scale for the drawing of graphs are the difference between the highest and the lowest value of each quantity, the intermediate value of each quantity, so that with the scale chosen is the convenient to mark the value on the graph to utilize the maximum part of the paper on which the graph is to be drawn. So this should be kept in mind. So we have seen here the distance is given in kilometers. So 1 centimeter is taken as 10 kilometer and the time as half an hour, 30 minutes. Okay. So the graph is plotted by the above table. Suppose that you are given a graph paper of size 25 into 25 centimeter. One of the scale which meet the above condition and can accommodate the data of table 13.5. So distance 5 km is equal to 1 centimeter and 6 minutes is equal to 1 centimeter. So this could be convenient. Can you now draw the distance time graph for the motion of the bus? Is the graph drawn by you similar to that of the figure shown in 13.13? Distance time graph provides a variety of information about the motion when compared to the data presented by table. For example, in table 13.5 gives information about the distance moved by the bus only at some definite time interval. On the other hand, from the distance time graph, we can find the distance moved by the bus at any instant of time. Suppose we want to know how much distance the bus had traveled at 8:15 am. We mark the point corresponding to the time 8:15 on the x-axis of 13.14. Suppose the point is A. Next, we draw a line perpendicular to the x-axis or parallel to the y-axis at point A. We then mark the point T on the graph at which the perpendicular line intersects to it, as shown in figure 13.14. Next, we draw a line through the point T parallel to the x-axis. This intersects the y-axis on the point B. The distance corresponding to the point B on the y-axis OB gives us the distance in kilometer covered by the bus in 8:15. How much is this distance in kilometer? Can you now help Paheli to find the distance moved by the bus at 9:45 am. Can you also find the speed of the bus from the distance time graph? So here you can see the distance time graph. So at 9:15 am, so here is the 9:15 between 9 to 9:30. So you can draw a perpendicular line along it till here, and you can see at what distance it is in the y-axis by drawing a perpendicular line from the y-axis. Now when you join the line, you will get a point. So that will be the point of intersection. So here the chapter is finished. Now we will see in a nutshell what we have learned so far. The distance moved by an object in a unit time is called its speed. Speed of object help us to decide which one is moving faster than the other. The speed of an object is the distance traveled divided by the time taken to cover that distance. The basic unit is meter per second. Periodic events are used for the measurement of time. Periodic motions of a pendulum has been used to make clocks and watches. Motion of objects can be presented in pictorial form by the distance time graph. The distance time graph for the motion of an object moving with a constant speed is in a straight line. So here the chapter is finished, and we will start the next chapter in the next class. Thank you.